Alright, what do you got there, Jimbo?
This would be a Jiffy model number 30. We're going to do a carb clean on it today.
Allegedly. What's wrong with it?
Well, it's been running, it kind of runs, and you'll run it at full throttle. You'll get it started, you get it running at full throttle, and it'll be like, and it'll just kind of go, and want to quit. And it'll stall unless you let off the gas, and then it'll run.
Okay. And how long has this been happening?
Just this year. I did put a little sea foam in the gas, and I did kind of straighten it out a little bit, but it can use a cleaning, I'm pretty sure.
Did you try putting some stable in your fuel when you got done with it every year?
No, I only had this for 1 year, so.
Well, it would be very helpful to put some stable in there.
Now you see what's wrong with it.
Yeah. That's quite a problem there.
Why? What is it? If you put it on half choke, it doesn't do that, Norm.
Let's take it apart here, check the carb out and a few other things, and we'll see what we got. I'm looking here and I think this spring might be catching, so let's try to flip this around first. Alright, let's give it a try.
Let me just kind of set this on here. It'll be on there perfect. Just set it on there so it kind of won't fall off, hopefully.
Nope, that wasn't it.
But now you see the problem I'm having with it, though,
Yes.
for sure. I know you could see it now.
Yeah, it's a problem.
What do you think? Do you think it's the carburetor?
Well, let's try. Let's tear into it. Alright, let's take a look at that spark plug here. Have the wrench go in the correct direction. Champion J17LM.
Looks pretty clean. I mean, yeah, it's dirty a little, but it's
It
not
looks
that
new.
dirty.
It's oily. The gap doesn't look right on it. The gap looks a little collapsed. Let's check it online to see what the gap's supposed to be.
Sounds good.
Alright, let's check that gap. Ooh, it doesn't look big at all. It's at 0.26 and it's supposed to be 0.30. That's a decent amount off, so let's gap it correctly and try it again.
Okay.
Alright, got that spark plug in, let's give it a try. Nope. Alright, let's take the carb apart. It's got adjustments too.
Do you think we need to adjust it? Or do you think it needs to be taken apart and cleaned?
We may need to adjust it. Usually it's 1.5 to 2 turns out. We'll check it though.
Just taking off the carburetor now. I'm going to clean it. Took off the gas tank. It was easy. It just slides right off and you turn the screw and then the hose pops right out of the carburetor. 2 screws to remove the carburetor.
Alright. There we go. Let's take it apart. Alright, what is it anyway? Loss in power.
Yeah, perfect. You're good.
Alright. Take this off. It just points it up so that it doesn't suck in water and snow from underneath.
Oh.
It'll try to pull the hot air from the engine above. Okay, try not to damage that seal. There's the choke. I can kind of see the high-speed jet in there. There's the throttle. Where are the low-speed jets here? There they are. See the plug over here?
Yep.
Weller plug. On the other side of that, there's a bunch of little tiny holes that control the low-speed jet. So that controls the idle, and the high-speed jet is the one right inside that little restriction in there. It's on the bottom and it faces up. And these 2 screws here control how much fuel go to each one. This is probably for the idle here, and this is for the high speed. So let's just take those out. Before we take these screws out here, let's tighten them in all the way to figure out how many turns out they are. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 1.5 turns for the low speed. Let's write that down. 1 1/2 turns. Let's check the high speed. Half. 3/4. High is 3/4. Alright, let's take those out. Let's get that out of there. Make sure that the springs come out. Sometimes there'll be tiny springs and little rubber O-rings on the inside. These two jets here had these brass washers come out when I dumped it over, so we want to make sure we keep those from getting lost. Now that I got my pick here, I'm going to try to pull those rubber O-rings out. If they'll let me. Yep, there's one. And I think there's another one down there. Yep, both of these had O-rings underneath the springs. So 2 O-rings, 2 brass washers, high and low speed. Let's take this diaphragm off the bottom. It's a good thing when you're taking it off that both of these seals didn't tear.
Or you just get a carb
Yep.
rebuild kit.
The carb kit would come with that, probably some new rubber O-rings, a new diaphragm, and a new needle on the inside of here if it used one. Let's see what's inside. Hopefully this comes off easy. Oh, it's being difficult. Alright, where's the razor blade? Hopefully this thing won't tear apart. There we go. Oh, no, she's peeling in spots. If I can get the blade under there and such, and get it before it gets too bad, it won't tear too far. We'll be able to use it. Otherwise, I might have to buy a new one. There we go. Alright, there's the diaphragm. I think we got it. Yeah, we got it pretty good without tearing it up too bad. Yeah, that'll be okay. That seals on that spot right there. We got a little spring-loaded needle in there. So when it's empty, what happens is it pulls it in, and then when it fills up with gas, it shuts itself. So it always has a decent amount of gas in there. And then that little hole right there goes to the high speed, and that goes underneath here up to there. And then the low speed, yeah, you can see it's got really tiny holes in there. Look at that tiny little hole. It goes through there, and then it'll go sideways through this and into that plug, and then there's a few tiny holes on the other side in here. So what we're going to do to clean it is first we're going to take a little copper wire and poke those holes there, the low speed jets, and then I think all the rest of them are all happy. I try to poke it right there.
You could still go through them just to make sure.
Yeah, just to make sure that there's no crust in them. And then what I'll do is I'll get the air compressor wand and shoot compressed air through all these orifices to try to clear them out of obstructions. Maybe throw a little carb cleaner in there. Got some phone wire here. We're just going to take one piece. This should be 22 or 24 gauge.
Could you use a paper clip if you had one?
No, you don't want to use anything steel hard at all.
Yep, good job, Steve.
Just a little copper.
Okay, so don't use any hard steel when you're doing this. Only something soft. Copper, gold, soft metal.
Gold. No, I don't think you're going to be using gold. Alright, so I'm just going to poke it in there. It doesn't look like it's going to go in all the holes. Oh, yeah, it does. Okay, there's second hole, and third hole is kind of in the back there. Let's see. Well, it might not go in there. Oh, she went in there. Can you see that?
Yeah.
So, I know all 3 of those are clear from crapola. We don't really have any carb cleaner. We're all out, but we have like 5 cans of brake cleaner, so I guess that's what we'll use. It'll work okay. We don't need to get too crazy and spray it all over. See a lot of people just douse it. It's not necessary. Oh. Alright, I'm just going to kind of get it on the jets in there a little bit. Little orifices. And we'll get it some here. Give it a little time to soak and get that caramelization out. This carb didn't smell like it had caramelization at all, like the other carburetor from the other Ice Auger. little bit in there. Oh. Alright, let's give her some compressed air. Now, if you're blowing this out here, you probably don't want to be doing it around an open flame. It's going to get everywhere. So, I'm trying to get it just back in those little orifices back there. That should be forcing it through to the high-speed jet.
I just came up with a good question. For people that don't have an air compressor, is there any other way to do this?
No, you really want an air compressor. I think she is fully cleaned out now. Now let's put her back together. Make sure we got that seal flat on there. Put this back on.
It doesn't matter how tight you put those.
Well, you don't want to crush it, you just want to put it on there snug.
Okay.
Let's check these to see if they're... Yeah, those are relatively clean there. Alright, and this spring here is how it opens the throttle, and then when it spins up. And then when the engine spins up, the fan pushes more air, so it closes the throttle, so it can maintain a set speed. And this screw right here adjusts the idle. See? It adjusts how open the throttle is at idle. I think we're pretty good on that. It idles okay. Anyway. It idles okay?
It seemed like it, didn't it?
Yeah, so we don't really need to adjust this screw, and we probably won't need to adjust the idle mix screw.
We might, though, you know.
But we'll probably back that high speed screw out. I think that was the problem. It was only 3/4 of a turn, and it's usually 1.5 turns to 2 turns. So we put the spring, then the brass washer, then the O-ring, so that the spring doesn't dig into the O-ring here. Put this in there like that. Tighten it all the way in, then back 1.5 turns.
That's right.
Half, 1, 1.5. Same thing for this one, except for I think I'm going to leave this one at 1.5 turns out as well. And we'll see. Oops. Brass washer first, and then the O-ring. Alright.
Is there a way you can tell which screw is which and which goes in which hole?
They're a different size thread. Okay. You're not going to be able to put the one. You shouldn't be able to put them in the incorrect hole.
O-rings this different size too, or are those all the same size?
One was bigger, which is the one that goes on here.
So you won't be getting those confused. No problems.
All right. So that was 3/4 of a turn. So quarter, 3/4, 1, 1.5. Let's try that. Let's put this cover back on. Alright, that's tight. We're good on there, so we can put the carburetor back on now. Let's put the carburetor back in here. Take these nuts off. Goes up in there.
Put that first one in, look for the second one.
There we go.
You do make things look easy.
Yeah, I've done it plenty of times, that's why.
And these bolts, how tight would you say?
Snug.
Just snug? Okay.
Yeah, snug. Well, if you break the bolt off, you better practice some more. Alright, there we go. Let's get that little spring on there too. Alright, I'll go. Pull it. Alright, that's adjusted there perfectly. Alright, so we just put this hose back on here. There we go. I think this is actually for the primer. That's what that does.
Yeah, it probably is.
That would make sense. Yeah. Okay, let's put the gas tank back on, fill her up, and
grab the tank.
Yeah. I always have these facing out so they're easy to get to. There we go.
Good.
Alright, now put the tank right back on there. We'll just put her on there a little bit in case we run into problems. How's that?
Oh, yeah, I guess. Should we just throw a little gas in there in case we run into problems?
Well, no, let's put all the gas in there. Let's pour the gas back in. Alright, I got plenty on the gas tank itself. Perfect. Alright, let's see what happens.
There you go. Make sure your finger's over the hole.
That's right. It's got to get through.
There you go. Might prime it 2 times.
It's time to eat.
Okay.
Alright, in the middle of something here. Probably flooded it. After just the carburetor, and we're getting a little
Seems to
closer.
be running pretty good. A lot better than it was. Huh?
We need a little bit less here. Oh, she's a little smoky in here. It sounds like it's got too much gas, so let's just try to turn it down a little bit.
Alright.
Let me give it a quarter turn less, quarter turn clockwise in.
You gonna flip the switch?
Yep, and then we're gonna play with it, and then you can rev it a little bit, and I might give it a little tune there. Ready?
Sounds good, yeah. Did you?
Alright, it doesn't seem to want to respond too well to all the gas meters, so let's try it again.
Sounds right, no?
She seems like she might go a little faster than she should. I don't know if
No, it's supposed to do that. It's supposed to rev up like that.
Alright.
That's what it's supposed to sound like.
Alright, so it sounds like it runs pretty good there, but we need to adjust it. These 2 screws here. This one right here is the low speed idle. If you go out loose, it'll give it more gas during idle. If you go in, it gives it less. This screw right here is for the high speed. Same thing, if you go out, it'll give it more. When it's at the high speed, clockwise, is less. And then this screw up here is for the throttle adjustments, so the idle. So when the throttle gets done, when you let go and the throttle returns to idle position, it determines how far cracked open it is.
Okay.
So if you go out, it closes it more. Same thing, it's less. Less air, less fuel. And clockwise is more air, more fuel.
Okay.
Alright, cool deal. Let's cut it.
Go ahead.
It's all smoky.